Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Everyday EDC. My name is Tyler, and today what you see on the table is my top 10 favorite knives to fidget with, once again excluding the benchmade superfreek, which is not currently in my possession. It will be coming back to me soon, whenever Corey is done with it. This is me going through all my stuff and being like, which ones do I choose when I want to play with a freaking knife? And this is kind of what it's led me to. If it wasn't for the Super Freak being gone, the Astute probably would have been out of there. But, which brings me to my next point. I'm going to go on down, I'm just going to flick some knives, we're going to talk a little bit of shit, and we're going to go through it, and we'll get down to my favorite knife in this possession that I currently love to fidget with. As I said, the Spyderco Astute is going to be the first one off the chopping block. The only reason this one's on there, short of the fact that I don't have my benchmade, is really because this guy just fires so hard. There is something so satisfying about this. It thwacks. It's kind of like, where's it at? I don't fidget with my rat, but it thwacks, right? That's what this reminds me of, just like the Newport. It's not thwacking as hard, and I feel like the pivot's kind of getting loose. No, it's not. Maybe I'm just out of my freaking mind. But for a tiny knife, guys, this thing is bam. Alright. But not my favorite. What's my next least favorite to fidget with? It would probably go towards the Saviodium. Now, this isn't my least favorite. Let's put that back. Because there was a point in time where I was carrying the Concept Cryo and I was fidgeting with this guy. Now, I love fidgeting with this, and I'm sure it's going to break in even more. The detent on it is just strong enough that after about 10 minutes of driving and just doing this with my other hand, like, this little finger right here starts hurting. So, not hurting, but it's like to the point where you're like, okay, I don't feel like doing that anymore. And then I would set this down and grab the Odium because I was trying to review both. So I had both of them on me at the same time. So I have to give the Concept Cryo an out. Concept Cryo is going to go mainly because, if I'm being honest with myself, I would pick up the Odium after a while because it's a little bit softer on the hands, a little bit more fun to fidget with. But this thing fires hard. There's so many methods of deployment that you can do. You know, just like that because we're cool. No, that sucked. But I'm not going to do it again because I'm not good at that. And if you're a thumb guy, you can get your thumb in there too. I've told you guys before, I've gotten so bad with my thumb in the opening holes because I don't use it anymore. The Spidey flick, I've gotten so second nature that it looks like the knife is automatic. Anyways, that's my number 9. Which leads me to my number 8, the Saviodium. This thing is ridiculously fun to fidget with. It's on these bearings. By the way, almost everything on here is on bearings except for this guy. This guy, the Astute, is actually on phosphor bronze, so it's pretty cool that it even made the list with that. But this is on these ceramic bearings. It's got plenty of opening methods. The new Savivi, like, the flipper tab is getting tinier, a little bit sharper, and because I already have calluses on these fingers, it doesn't bother me at all. Somebody who has very delicate hands, it might, but it does not bother me at all. And I'm really liking this over... I don't want to grab that. Where's my Doris? The Doris. The Doris, and I know these blades are 2 different ones, so it's going to be different. Make sure that you guys are looking at it. So you can see that this is almost straight with some jimping. This has this little ramp up, like this little point right there. That's what catches me. And I like fidgeting with the Doris, but I end up putting my finger on that piece right there all the time, and it starts to wear in. This one, I don't really get that. And then if I do, what do? You just switch back. Switch back to the Spotty Flick. So, the Saviodium, taking number 8. Pretty good for the Saviodium, considering that, you know, it's a newer knife for me. I don't intend to keep this. I'll keep it for a while. I want to do some other stuff with it, but, yeah. So, my number 7 favorite knife to fidget with. Probably my Ferrum Forge FALCON. The only reason this one's not higher on the list, and the fact that it's gummy, like, God, I did the last video on this, and it's like, I need to do something with this. We're going to do this on camera real quick, see if we did anything to it. I'll try to get rid of that canned air sound because it's loud. See if that made it any better. Wipe it off on ye old hoodie. It didn't. I might have to take this guy apart. Something's going on, or loosen the pivot or something. But this thing, it's not as gummy as it normally is. I should have done my homework before I got this out. But anyways, the D10 on this is pretty strong, which is what keeps it from being higher on the list. It has a tendency to, after a while, these aren't sharp, but it starts to annoy your little fingers a little bit, right? But you can always switch back to the flipper tab. But it's just the strong D10, and I love a strong D10. I love the thwack that it gives when it goes, but for Fidget Factor with the stronger D10, it's a little bit not as cool. So this leaves us down to, did I even count right? What am I on? 7? 6? That was number 7? 1, 2, 3. Okay. The fuck? Oh, yeah. All right, I'm on number 6 now. Brain fart moment, guys. My number 6 favorite knife to fidget with. I'm going to grab my Dogma. And the reason that I have my Dogma on this list, even though I haven't had it that long and can justify saying this, is I've had a Dogma. The fidget factor on both of these is equal. You know, just because this has the fuller and then this one has the cutout, it doesn't really make a difference. You can get in there almost equally. Actually, with this fuller, I find myself being able to get in there just a little bit better. But the action on it's fantastic. It's gorgeous. It makes you just want to pick it up. But the action on it's fantastic. You can thumb flick it. That's one that I don't even have problems thumb flicking. Spidey flick it. Flipper tab. Slow roll. All that stuff. Why doesn't this make this any higher? Well, I got the Ortiz at the same time. This is going to sound so crazy. This Ortiz to fidget with, oh my goodness. Like, insane. Like, Saviodium, I don't know if I just got a really good one or what, but Saviodium's did fantastic. There's the dryer. Let's wait a second. Saviodium did fantastic with this Ortiz in every way, shape, or form. And actually, I'm going to do a battle to the death one day of the Ortiz versus the Dogma. I have a feeling that if this Ortiz was here back in the day when I did my Quest for King Saviodium, it might have made it to the final 2 with the Dogma. It is so similar to the Dogma, like $3 cheaper. And it's something about it, whereas the Dogma feels like, I talked about the pretty thing in the past, the Dogma feels pretty enough that I hesitate to use it. This thing gives me Rat 1 and 2 vibes, probably because of the Efferon scales, but the ergos are great, that I just want to kind of beat the shit out of it. Anyways, I digress. Fidget Factor on the Ortiz is a little bit more satisfying than the Dogma. Speaking of which, the Saviodium Ortiz. Awesome, awesome Fidget Factor. You can just sit here for days. You can do the thumb rollout, the thumb flick, whatever. The one complaint that I have for all Saviodiums that I've just now recently noticed is this liner is very tight. Now, is that a complaint? No. Is it a complaint when you're talking Fidget Factor? A little bit. Because I want to be able to just flick it back and forth, you know, and it starts to wear on your thumb here. That's part of the reason that I got this guy not any higher on the list. And any Saviodium for that matter. Their action is fantastic. The Fidget Factor is fantastic. But I'm finding most, except for this Statera. The Statera's liner wasn't as bad. But I'm finding that most Saviodiums have this really tight liner that's really good for practice. You know, for use. But Fidget Factor, not so much. Which adds to my Mannix 2. My Mannix 2 is not, it's stupid fidgety. You could do anything. You got this freaking axis lock, and it's just awesome. You know, you could thumb flick it, no problem. Spidey flick it, no problem. You can slow roll it out. Do that with it with the lock. You can do so many things, but this ball bearing lock is so tight that after a while of doing this, your fingers start to get a little sore, which is okay. I mean, again, we're talking fidget factor, not usefulness of anything other than a fidget spinner that has sharp edges that'll cut the shit out of you, basically, right? Oh, I forgot. Let's see if we can do the Spidey drop. I don't know why I can't do the Spidey drop. I've never practiced it. I don't really care to do it, but whatever. But you can. There's so many opening mechanisms on this. This is why this is so high on the list. Any benchmade would be up here too. My freak would be up here too. But it's just so tight in the ball bearing lock that, you know, it starts to wear on you a little bit. The top 3 fidget knives. If you guys couldn't tell, in my top 10 list that I've recently done as well, both of these QSPs made it. I can't express enough. It's not all QSPs. I mean, the Penguin was fantastic. This Phoenix is very, very good. I got a QSP Leopard that I'm super excited about on the way. But I'm telling you, the Copperhead and this Puffin, there's just something about them that it's a magnet. It draws me to these knives. These things are fan-frickin-tastic. So, these are my top 3 fidget favorite frickin' knives. I don't know which one's going to win. I haven't really gone into this. This isn't like my favorite knife where I know which one I choose the most. So the Puffin is so satisfying. It fires hard when you get in there. Bam. It drops easy. Bam. It has no blade play, so this has nothing to do with the blade play on this knife. It's just boof. Oh, man. It's a great, great thing. The Defcon Kabuto doesn't make the sound as much, but it does this even better. And then that click when it sucks it back in. Watch this. Hear that? Yes, I know it's a heavier knife, but one more time. Just gorgeous. Oh my gosh. And then we have the Copperhead. Hear that thwack? Just listen. And yes, I'm trying to fire it out hard to make a point. But for Fidget Factor, you guys see that? Thumb stud, Spidey flick, no freaking problem. And I'm not even firing hard. Watch this. Hear that? Gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Remember when I talked about the hard liner locks? This thing is an exception. Not an exception, but it's part of the reason why I believe Civivi's liner locks are harder. Because this thing's so easy to manipulate. Maybe it's because it's longer. Maybe leverage plays a point there, but I don't care. That's not. I'm not going into the physics of these knives or the designs. I'm just talking about which one's more fun to play with. This thing is stupid fun. Oh my gosh. I could sit there and just switch back thumb all day. So I think the QSP Puffin gets knocked out here. Now I love the Puffin. It's super easy to do. This liner is super soft on this titanium liner. Not scary soft, just, you know, fidget friendly soft. And it's great, but because of the way this is designed, maybe the thumb stud one would be a little bit different, but because of the way this one in particular is designed, make sure that I'm in there. Yeah. It's just one of those things where I only have one method of opening, and that's where this thing kind of goes out to play. Now, I know that you're saying that, you know, hey, this only has one opening mechanism, so does this. Why does this win over this? It's just a personal feeling. I have an attachment to this with the Fidget Factor that's just unbelievable. So we got 2 knives here. Very similar size, but very different in everything else. Titanium, carbon fiber, flipper. You know, this thing's just whoop. But this thing with this G10 stainless steel liner, thumb stud, almost does it. Now, if I do another one of these little spritzes here. Oh gosh, for $60 versus the 140 that you can get this for, or 80 versus the 140. Oh my gosh, guys. It's just a fantastic. You get the back and forth. This one brings to the table this part. Oh, jeez. Oh my goodness. So which one is my favorite? 100% honesty. I choose on the regular to fidget with this knife way more than the other. My QSP Copperhead. I fidget the crap out of this guy. If that sentence doesn't make sense, that's cool. I'm cool with that. Not a huge deal. But just the way that I can go back and forth with this thing. Ah, goodness. This thing is so good, and it broke in so well. The only thing that it rivals that is kind of interesting, because they're almost the same knife, just in a different price range, different materials, different X, Y, and Z, is the superfreek. The superfreek comes with the thumb studs. It's got the axis lock, so it would decimate all of these, but, which is kind of what makes this fun, so it's not obvious. But, you know, the ergonomics are similar, the blade shape's similar, the freaking blade length is similar. I mean, everything about those two knives is similar, except for the fact that this is a liner that's an axis lock, and there's a $140 difference in the price point. But yes, if my superfreek was here, it would have taken the cake down. But that being said, this QSP Copperhead, with everything that I currently have, is by far and large the winner between all of these. And just to put that into perspective, let me just tilt this real quick. All of those. My QSP Copperhead beats all of those with Fidget Factor. So, kudos to the QSP Copperhead. Kudos to the QSP family. You guys did awesome with every single thing I've touched. And again, even the Phoenix. This thing's growing on me. I didn't like this at first, but I'm starting to like it a little bit more. It has almost the same Fidget Factor as this after a while. I can tell it's going to break in real nice. And I'm starting to appreciate a thicker blade. You know, that's why I've always talked about the slicey blades don't necessarily win when it comes to a lot of different things other than sliciness. Because, now, are you chopping a tomato? Sure, take a slicey blade. But are you going to go out and do some shit? Take the QSP Copperhead. This thing's a little bit more robust. You ain't going to break nothing on it, and you get some... Oh. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Here are your top 3 candidates for Fidget Knife of Tyler's October 2020 list of fidget knives. My name is Tyler. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great freaking day.